Hi everybody, this is Skefren, your favorite French Canadian. Today I'm going to show you how to boost your FPS in Escape from Tarkov, the 0.13 patch. Not well optimized again, a bit laggy. If after a couple of games you're starting to lag, very important, just restart your game. I'm not too sure if it's a memory leak issue right now, but something is odd with it, so just restart your game. So we're gonna start by optimizing Windows, and after that I'm gonna show you the best parameter inside of the game for the best visibility, but also for the best optimization for your FPS. So now the best setting for Windows for gaming. So first of all, we're gonna search for game mode in the search bar. Make sure that game mode is activated for the past year. It's pretty good. You're getting a decent performance, and you're gonna make sure that all your resources are focused on the game that you're playing. For the Xbox game bar, I still recommend to deactivate this one, causing stuttering, crashing in some games. So I'm not a huge fan of the Xbox game bar. And for the capture, make sure that the background recording is at off, and also the recorded audio is at off. Another thing that I recommend, it's the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. Make sure that you're searching for graphics setting. You will need an NVIDIA card, 1000 series or more recent. It will really help with bottlenecks. So if you have a 1050, 1050 Ti, 1060, even the 2060, you can expect a nice 2 to 5% boost. And also you can expect less stuttering when you're using that. So I really recommend to use that. Another thing that is really important, it's your driver. Make sure that you have the latest driver from AMD, NVIDIA, even Intel if you have an iGPU on your processor. So for an example here with AMD, you just click check for update and it's gonna show you if you have the latest one. You can do the same thing with NVIDIA. Another thing that I can recommend with the NVIDIA and AMD, they have an image scaling for the past a couple of months. From AMD, it's called Super Resolution, and for NVIDIA, it's NIS. I have dedicated video who's gonna show you how to use that and how to configure it. But to explain you quickly what it's about, so you need to enable this. So for example, I'm playing in 2K because my monitor is in 2K. I'm going inside of my game. I lower the resolution at 1080p, and the software will scale it back at 2K. And with this process, I can save 15-20% in my FPS. Also, you can do it if you have a 4K monitor and you want to do 1080p or 2K. You can expect a nice boost. The image quality will not be the same if you compare with native, but in some game it's working very well, and it's very tough to see the difference. So I recommend to use it if you're struggling with your FPS. Another thing that I recommend, it's your energy profile. So write energy in your search bar, go to power option. Make sure that you're running something like balance or high performance. On a desktop computer, it should not be an issue, but if you're playing on a laptop, really make sure that you're using that or a special profile for performance from your brand like Asus, Dell, or whatever. The thing is, sometimes when you plug your PC in the wall, unplug, using it with the battery, sometimes it stay at power saver and you don't want to use that when you're playing a game. So super important to be plugged in and also to use a proper performance profile. Another thing that I can recommend, it's the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This is a software made by the guy from DDU. It's pretty amazing, honestly. It will help if you don't have a lot of RAM in your PC. So if you have 4 gig of RAM, 8 gig, 12 gig, after that, you should be fine. Windows is doing the job properly. So it will free memory, and it's gonna make sure that it optimizes your standby list. So what I recommend normally, it's look at your total memory. Here in my case, it's 32. Just divide it by 2. So for me, it's 16. Just press start and it will run automatically, and you just lower the software like that, and you're gonna make sure it's optimized. So it's a really good software, and also it helps a little bit with stuttering. So I really recommend to use that. One last thing is I have dedicated video on my channel about overclocking CPU, overclocking GPU, depending on your brand and stuff. And it's pretty good because there are basic overclocking guide. I don't touch voltage, so it's pretty safe. You can expect sometimes 2%, 10% boost in your FPS depending on your thermal, depending on your component. But it's something that you need to look at too if you want to optimize your PC for the best performance. So now let's go inside of the game. So now inside of the game, so first of all, we're gonna look at automatic RAM cleaner. Please check this one, it will help for memory leak and stuff like that. I still had some random memory leak with the 0.13 patch, so after 3-4 games I need to restart my game. Not too sure what is going on right now. If you have that, just restart your game. And for the only use physical core, it really depends if you have multi-threading on your CPU. If you have something like an i7 or you have like a Ryzen processor, for sure use the physical core. If you have like 6, 8, 12 core, it will really help because Escape from Tarkov doesn't like the logical core, so you can force to use your physical one. For the FOV, you can see a lot of different guides on the internet. This one is a bit tricky. First of all, it will affect your FPS, so if you're putting your FOV at 75, you're gonna lose a lot of FPS. And if you're playing at 50, you're gonna gain FPS. After that, it will affect your recoil, your visibility, also the precision of your gun. So for me, right now, I'm playing at 63. I feel it's a good compromise between like all the difference between 50 and 75. But for sure, if you're limited with your PC, I recommend to go at 50. For the head bobbing, I recommend to go with minimum. You don't want head bobbing. It's a distraction when you're playing the game. So for visibility, go with minimum. After that, for graphic, screen resolution, I recommend to go with native, so it really depends on your monitor. If you have a 2K monitor, 1080p, 4K, whatever, make sure you're playing native. Make sure that you're playing full screen, don't go with borderless, it's causing some random stuttering. Aspect ratio, just respect the aspect ratio of your monitor and use the proper monitor. After that, we're gonna go with texture quality. If you have 6 gig of VRAM and more, play at high. If you have 4 gig, go with medium. And if you have less than 4 gig, go with low. Shadow quality will have a huge impact on your FPS. If you compare ultra to low, you can expect 12 to 15% boost in your FPS. So I really recommend to go with low, first of all, for visibility and also for performance. Object LOD quality, this one is a bit tricky. If you're limited with your CPU and your GPU like you're limited with your PC, definitely go with 2. But if you can run a little bit better, 2.5, it's a good spot, honestly. It will help to spot enemies and stuff like that. And if you can run 2.5, try something like 1000 or 1500. Really depend of your gameplay. For sure, if you're using a sniper, go with 1500 or just go with 1000 if you're using an AK or something like that. And if, like I said, if you're limited with your computer, go with 2 and go with 400 like the minimum, because those ones are huge on your FPS. Anti-aliasing, I recommend to go with off. Honestly, the anti-aliasing in this game, I don't like it. The game looks very blurry with TAA. If you don't like the aliasing in the game, use FX AA. It's a basic one and it's less blurry if you compare it with TAA, and you will gain a couple of FPS if you compare also to TAA. So question of preference. Resampling, I recommend to go with 1x. DLSS, this one is a bit weird. When they launched it, I got like a big boost in my FPS, and now it's not a huge deal. And also the game looks very like blurry. I don't like it. If you want to use it, use quality. Don't use balance performance or ultra performance, honestly. Just go with quality. But this should be your last resort. I don't know, you have like a 2060 video card and you're struggling with your FPS. You can definitely test it. But again, if you want visibility, don't use DLSS. And it's pretty much the same thing with the new FSR from AMD, the 2.1. Again, if you want to use it, use quality. The other ones are pretty trash, but this should be last resort for now. I'm not a huge fan of the implementation in the game. Ambient occlusion, I recommend to go with off, SSR off, anisotropic filtering off. If you have the NVIDIA reflex latency, go with on. Your FPS will be locked, but honestly, you will run it at 144, so no issue over there. If you're playing your game and it's locked at 60, just restart your game. If you don't have those technology, go with off and put your game FPS limit at 144. The only reason that maybe you should lock your FPS lower, if, example, you're playing on a laptop, you have a 60 Hz monitor and you have a lot of issue with your thermals, don't go too crazy with your FPS because you will start stuttering because of that. Probably your CPU or GPU will throttling. So again, if you have issue with thermals on a desktop or even laptop, just like limit your FPS with the amount of Hertz of your monitor. I'm gonna put this back at on. For all the other options over there, make sure that they all uncheck. Another important thing, I'm not using VSync. VSync will add input lag in your game, so that's why it's on check. I'm not gonna talk about post effects right now. And for the sound, I know a lot of people is asking the question. I did again a couple of tests, binaural audio with and without. Not too sure, honestly. I don't necessarily see the difference with my Sennheiser. So I'm playing binaural. This seems a little bit better. But again, if you have comment about it, just comment in the YouTube section and try to convince me. If you have any question about this guide and how to struggle, if you struggle with your game, just comment in the YouTube section, post me your CPU, GPU, and RAM. I will try to help you the best that I can. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Peace.